Lean Launchpad teaches evidence-based entrepreneurship, showing how to take a research idea from the lab into the marketplace.
It's an amazing evolution in how we teach entrepreneurship, how we teach leadership, how we turn scientists into people who can really assess markets and build business models.
It's an incredibly slimmed down version of how you build a business case, but it involves one thing, which is going out and finding customers. And that is the whole premise of Lean Launch, is getting out the building and testing hypotheses.
In the UK, we have a very strong science and engineering base, but these young people really know nothing about business or industry. And so we need that base to really help them to build new companies for the benefit of the UK economy. We started the Industrial Translation Centre in October 2013, and an important component of the centre is to really train people working in synthetic biology in various aspects of business, including how you start a company, how you write a business plan, etc., etc. So Paul and I were over in San Francisco in November 2013, attending SymBioBeta, and John Cumbers suggested that we should go to an evening at UCSF to hear Lean Launchpad, run by Jerry Engel and Steve Blank. It became immediately obvious that this could be a tremendous vehicle actually for training our synthetic biologists in various aspects of business, but particularly addressing the problem of customers, the market, etc. So that was the start of the process, and this is the end of the first round.
What I've found extraordinary about it is that we've only been doing this for 11 weeks. You're going to see the results of 11 weeks of amazing work, actually. And I really would like to thank, on behalf of Dick and I, the mentors of the scheme, because the mentors have given their time for absolutely nothing and have really contributed to the program.
Nobody in the room is here to sell anything, but they are here to demonstrate the methodology they've used for learning. And they're going to do that by expressing their hypotheses, what they thought, showing you what they did about that, how they tested those hypotheses, the conclusions they've reached, and where they are on their learning journey. What's important is that we're all involved together, investors and entrepreneurs and professors, in learning. So we're going to see some great startup teams. They're going to show us how they've become learning machines, deploying evidence-based entrepreneurship. So let's see what they've learned.
As you can see by this red line, we've actually in the process of changing our name because we started detecting bacteria for farmers, so we thought they would care about the quality of their crops. But actually, now we're focusing on Campylobacter, which is it's a bacteria very prevalent in chickens, so our name will change to reflect that. So we had two main hypotheses. Firstly, we believed that farmers would care strongly about the quality of the water they're using to water their crops. And the second hypothesis was that farmers would be willing to pay for our product, which could help solve this problem. So we thought it was a very simple equation of decontaminated water, meaning happy farmers. But as we found out, this was not the case. So we invalidated both of our hypotheses, but actually it took us quite a long time to do this, 5 weeks in fact. So we spoke to many people and we found that farmers aren't facing the regulation that we thought they would, which would incentivize them to use our product. And of course, a customer is not going to pay for a product which they have no need for.
We started to talk with some doctors because we thought they have a completely different problem, and actually they suggested to explore this market about Campylobacter. Unfortunately for us, we discovered that in the news and for the Food Standard Agency, tackle Campylobacter is the priority #1 these years. The major 11 supermarkets and retailers in the UK market are investing a significant amount of money for doing this.
I didn't really know what to expect on day one. When I arrived on the first morning, just from the first few lectures, I knew that it was going to be a very valuable experience, and then they told us to go and get out of the building.
We're developing a biological route to high-value chemicals. A key learning is really that you need more resources for this process. This course kind of is like the reality of running a company, and that's been difficult and stressful, and if I did it again, it would allocate more time. What we heard was that from fine chemical users, the pharma and nutritional companies, but they weren't really interested in our process. They wanted to talk about products, which was difficult because we wanted to talk about our process. They really forced us to kind of move into that area.
One of the things that we did with the Lean Launch was we think it's so powerful and so useful that we're really kind of seeing how we can expand it beyond Imperial. And so we're exploring a lot of WebEx, delivering it by WebEx. And we were very fortunate to have partners in Singapore, and they were interested in doing the Lean Launch. And so they were our guinea pigs for this WebEx version of teaching it, and they did remarkably well. I didn't cut him any slack at all. We were pushing him, and he was just incredible. So this is my model. So, the rest of the UK, if you can do it in Singapore, we can do it around the country here. I'm going to introduce you to Advanced Synth Studio.
Also, people who know me, I'm from Singapore. So I'm very happy to be here and to be part of this Lean Launchpad program. We kind of produce a product that we call it Advanced Synth Studio, which is a tool for designing and modeling microbes.
So you did customer discovery interviews on 3 continents. Any cultural differences in terms of the approach?
Well, that's a very good question. In fact, I see 3 different cultures. So let's start off with Singapore. When I talk to people, they don't want to tell you anything. Okay, that's the most extreme. So then the other extreme is in San Francisco. To me, they're so open. Everybody you talk to, they share with everything that they've gone through and what you shouldn't do and what pain they've gone through, and they guide you. So to me, UK is somewhere in the middle. To be frank, I think UK is somewhere in the middle. It depends on who you talk to. Yeah, you get that certain sort of feedback. The most valuable thing I learned is that there's actually a methodology to which we can actually explore the commercialization of our scientific discovery in trying to find a product and market fit. And Lean Launchpad is the approach to do it.
We are creating molecular biology science kits for fun and learning. A lot of the things that we're talking about today is based on evidence from over 180 customer interviews, and I'll tell you a little bit more about who those customers were a little bit later on.
It's not a question, it's, you made your first sale already, so you got that. It's, I'm buying as soon as you can show me one. My question is more about how it scales. How does freeze-dried reactants get you into a chemical market, or get you into a pharmaceutical market, or get you into something else? Are we talking perfume kits for adults, or are we talking fuel kits for adults? What is it? What is the thing that's down the road eventually?
So in terms of kind of the market that we've kind of identified, we can grow in terms of new themed kits. We can grow in terms of buying refills. So when they've actually carried out their experiments, they can buy additional refill kits. There are also connected apps, so we can kind of explore that as a growth area as well. And in terms of the technology itself, we will be building a lot of sort of IP around sort of cell-free is our intention, which will be of interest to other partners, so other companies in that sort of space. We are kind of focusing on the sort of toy space. In terms of the costing, some of those costings are things like packaging and other kind of resources in there, which you wouldn't necessarily need in a diagnostic setting. Also as well, it depends on sort of the value of the problem that you're identifying. So, those sort of price dynamics might not be linked to the cost of the manufacturing, but in terms of the cost of the problem. So it'd be very specific.
But also the cost is not just one reaction, you get several reactions in a box.
You talked about the kind of the more educational market, so going into schools and selling into schools. How does the product align to the national curriculum in the UK, for example? Because if it's not on the curriculum, frankly, it's probably not going to get taught.
Yeah, so we have thought about aligning it with the curriculum, so it's incorporated into the actual work plan. But we've also thought about using it as a supplement to the lesson plan. We've also taken our sort of MVP basic tube reactions into schools to focus groups to get feedback from students and teachers.
So one of the things that we kind of learned early on was that you must complement the curriculum, but that's not the same of being too tied into it, because it's great that it's moving in the direction towards more biotechnology, but it is a moving target. So the idea is you complement it and build in those themes that will remain, but not go too specific that you have to change your product every year.
And also, we've joined an organisation called STEMnet. So they have a network of STEM ambassadors around the whole UK. And it's a network of STEM clubs. And so that's another possible market as well.
One thing that's always impressed me is that you guys are serious scientists, right? And here you are doing something that can be understood to be fluff, toys. So you've said something about your passion. Bring that home for us. What exactly are you talking about?
Many scientists started their interest in science by playing with these kind of kits as children. And certainly we experienced that ourselves. So that's one of our motivations. I think bringing more molecular biology into schools is a thing we want to do.
So getting out of the building was a difficult concept at first. However, we quickly learned that persistence in telephoning, meeting people on their lunch breaks was the quickest and easiest way to meet people and gain that critical customer insights that we needed.
We came into the Lean Launchpad with quite a specific question, which was to ask, is there a quicker route to market for this technology that we have? Because we can also use this to detect proteins for specific cellular recognition, and also because we can encapsulate gold, we can see this via EM as well as light. So we were looking at the EM electron microscopy space as well. So along the way, we learned fairly quickly that the super resolution microscopy, for technical reasons, wasn't a goer, so we were able to invalidate that customer segment. We also were thinking about diagnostics because of the scale of kind of diagnostics operations, that might be a good market. But on visiting the diagnostic labs for NHS, the Imperial College NHS Trust, you realise the scale of that operation and actually the difficulty of entry into it because of the established technologies that they use and the validation and regulatory hurdles to get into it. So it's clearly, as a customer segment, not the place to start. The key learning we had here is that if you're going to sell a new product into an existing market, you have to give people a compellingly good reason to buy your product over what's out there already. And really the harsh reality of what we had is that, we were kind of a Me Too product, really. And so it wasn't going to give us the real key gain that we were looking for. So we also invalidated Western blotting as a value proposition with which to start. We had a very valuable interview with John Wingfield, who's a team leader in biochemical screening at AstraZeneca. And we listened, he opened up to us and told us what his pains and gains were. They were interested in our nanocage as a mechanism of delivery of compound into cells. And because our nanocage is fluorescent, we also get a fluorescence readout. So they're very interested in this correlation between drug delivery and fluorescence readout so that they can actually quantify the delivery of this drug inside cells and to operate this in a screening platform. So this gave us, great new entries into our business model canvas. And one of the key advantages of this is that there's no regulatory barriers to developing a screening product, unlike a therapeutic.
When you went through this, are you disheartened with what you found? Are you more enthusiastic as this focus came about?
I think I'm kind of more enthusiastic. So those sort of ideas that I presented at the beginning here, these are actually conversations we've been having in the lab for a couple of years. We could do this with it, we could do that with it, But we just sort of, find ourselves been going round in circles on those conversations. So to actually get answers to those questions is something that I'm very happy about, actually. I mean, potentially we could try and launch this as a fluorescent Western reagent, right? It works.
Right.
But I think I understand now that would be a very challenging and frustrating path to go down. And I'm kind of very happy to have learnt that. I'm also very delighted to kind of actually have a new collaboration, a new partner, and an exciting new platform for this, which is along the lines that we've been thinking about in terms of therapeutics as well.
I imagine even if you proceed with this business, you're going to remain an academic yourself. So how does going through this process, and even if you start the business and whatever, how will that inform your research? How will that change the way? Will it have an effect on how you frame a research question?
I think I've got a much stronger sense now of what the commercial reality is of taking these things forward. One of the reasons I was very keen to engage with the Launchpad is because, for the last few years I've been doing applied research in the lab. And ultimately, if you're doing applied research, at some point you kind of think, well, the point of that is that it should leave the lab, right? So actually engaging in a process which is about getting stuff out of the lab has, for me, been a really interesting and valuable process. It's been a real privilege to have had such amazing input from world-class leaders in both the UK and the US. So Jerry in particular has just been phenomenal, and he just keeps coming at you from a relentlessly business attitude, which for me, coming from a scientific and academic background, is immensely challenging but really, really valuable.
The teams were absolutely great. They performed well, they progressed.
They started off 11 weeks ago knowing nothing about business, and when I saw them present today, I just thought, wow.
They really came up with some fantastic ideas and delivered some great understanding of the businesses that they were trying to set up.
Compatibility of the methodology of going out and exploring the market and actually testing it with customers, partners, solution providers, and the students doing the inquiry, the formula really worked.
I definitely think the teams are going to build their businesses. A couple of them already registered their businesses and they are starting to operate right now. And other ones, they learned the methodology, so they will be able to apply that methodology to new businesses and to commercialize new technologies in the future. So I think it has been very, very valuable for them.
Before I started this course, I always thought that you come up with a really good idea and then you go and pitch it, and either it works or it doesn't work. But now I see that that's just completely wrong. It's all about finding and testing your hypothesis. And now that I've done the course, I feel so much more confident that if I do come up with a really good idea, I can go and develop that idea and make it happen.